Hey guys, we're the K3, and this is our final thoughts on the drama VIP.
Oh, yeah.
Do we have some thoughts?
So many
thoughts.
All right, you guys, let's just do it this way. Quick synopsis of our show.
Yes.
Okay. It's a power couple working together in the VIP division of one of Korea's premier department stores. They face a crisis when the wife, Jang Sung, discovers her husband, Sung Joon, is having an affair with someone in their office. But who?
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, here's my question. Overall, the entire show, yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay.
That is a really
That-
not a, that's,
with an
that's not a
asterisk.
strong. That's an
It's
asterisk.
not a strong yay. There's an asterisk with that.
Why?
Because I found the end unsatisfactorily satisfying.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about that was unsatisfactory?
About the ending?
Yeah.
So I think it was, in many ways, it was a letdown.
Okay.
Because the joy of watching through the show was
Mhm.
that it was almost, I think these are your words, like a thriller.
Yeah.
The first part of it, yeah.
The first part was like, what is happening? Oh my God. And the way the music was and the editing and the whole thing, it was just like,
Couldn't wait to see what was going to happen
Yeah.
next.
No, and by episode 10, 12, 14, it was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, let's look back and look at the clues.
Yes.
Like if you look at who the special
Yes.
VIPs
Yes.
were and what those events were and how those resolved, like what were the clues that
Yes.
were being laid out for us?
and is there,
And then
and then it all became it all boiled down to, it was just a simple affair. Agree with you wholeheartedly on that. That was really disappointing to me. Just from a story. I mean, I thought by the time that was we had to finally
Yeah.
admit that that's all we were
That's
getting.
what-
Yeah.
yeah.
I had enjoyed the performances and the stories to where I was like, okay, all right, it was a decent journey kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think it was disappointing that after what a tight,
Yes. And also because the second and third couple storylines
Mhm.
were really
Were so-
great.
Yeah.
And I'm not expecting this to be, a story of a marriage like the Adam Driver, Scarlett Johansson film, but at the end, it lacked that revelation.
Right.
It lacked.
It petered out, kind of.
Yeah. It didn't have the conversations between them that I needed to
Right.
have
You know,
to
There was something that was-
understand
Yes.
what
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
this actually just struck me. And I think this is what my biggest complaint is.
Yeah.
We all have been through grief, right? We've all had breakups. We've all had, those kinds of grief. I'm not talking about, obviously death is a whole different, like
Right.
the grief she had over her child was a completely different level of grief than the
The end
relationship
of her
grief.
marriage.
And-
Yeah.
and But I feel like the stages of grief, you watched her go through the stages of grief about the child, and we saw the backstory. I feel like she got locked in on the stage of grief of anger. For the entire
Yes.
show.
Yeah.
And we never saw her ever either own up to her own participation into the breakdown of her marriage.
Yeah.
And again, I get it.
It takes
She had
two
lost,
to make a marriage
yes,
work.
she'd lost the baby and it was traumatic and it was horrible. But it wasn't like she lost the baby and he suddenly was, out and like partying every night.
I know. And they had the people the
Yeah.
characters in there. Her best friend is a psychiatrist.
And he even said to her, people grieve differently.
Right. And
Like,
she could not understand that of her
no.
husband because she was so locked into, he had an affair with this young girl. Why did he choose her again at the end?
Oh, because they had the similarity of being illegitimate
I
children.
know, but he
think.
went back to her and then they broke. It was unsatisfying to me.
I don't feel that they really explained it
No.
because once it was discovered that that's who it was, and she was like, "Can we be together even after you guys break up?" He's like, "Not happening, lady."
Yeah.
And he was out.
And I remember you pointed out during our weekly recaps, on our weekly watch list, that you're like, for somebody who's having an affair, he looks really miserable.
He did,
like, he doesn't look happy. Like, shouldn't he be getting
and I feel like
some
we have
kind
to
of joy out of
do a
that?
quick shout out just to the actors. Lee Sung-yoon, thank
Yes.
you. I am sorry that you got so much grief about being
I know.
online, that people hated you. They hated your character. You did an amazing
Because
job.
you did such an amazing
You did
job
so
portraying the
good.
character.
And
Yes.
I thought Jang Nara did an amazing
Fantastic.
job.
Yes.
All the actors.
I just wish
in the
we
show were
could have.
great.
I just felt like our other two couples, we got to see them in crisis. We got to see them have a revelation, and we got to see them resolve it.
Yes.
And move apart, come
yeah.
together, move
Yes.
apart, come together.
And told from a woman's point of view, you
Yeah.
had two male characters, two partners who grew, who understood, who developed empathy for what women go through in the workplace, who go through juggling home and work life, and that
It was
So we were like,
amazing.
where is this
It
for
was
Lee Sung
so
Yoon's
great.
character?
And it just was so hard for me because
or even for Jang Nara's character, because I
Yes.
felt the one thing that left, I feel like the reason I said yay to your initial
Yeah.
question, the show is totally satisfying for me, was largely because of those two secondary storylines.
Mhm.
Than the
So
power
good.
that they had.
Absolutely.
But the one thing that was missing for me, where at the end I was like, really?
Yeah.
You're going to put this all on him?
All
Was
of it.
because they showed the grief he was going through.
Mhm.
And I can understand her having, given birth, a stillbirth, basically.
Yeah.
Having to go through labor and then, and your child is dead.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. I can understand her at that time
Mhm.
shutting him out completely. Like you said, everyone
Right.
grieves differently. But by the end, when he said, I understand you were grieving, I was grieving too, and I thought we would get through it together. For her not even to acknowledge that to him,
No.
or even if they were still, the divorce was still going to go through, to at least acknowledge and apologize to him for her part and not
Right.
recognizing his grief.
That was what was really hard
That
for me.
really
It
did
just-
not
Yeah.
sit well with me.
And a lot of people online were like, "Yeah, fuck him. He's a horrible husband, and how dare he?" And
She was not a
and
horrible
I-
husband.
And that was my problem. Like, he didn't start out as a horrible husband. He was
They had a
so
very
isolated
loving
because he
relationship.
couldn't be truthful with her, because he did finally say to her, "I never felt I could be truthful to you because of your family situation.
Yeah.
I couldn't be truthful about my family situation." And so that they were in an impasse.
Yeah.
So when
So here's my unsolicited marriage advice.
yes, she's the only one who can give it to. Go.
It's not that the other person completes you,
No.
right? You both bring 100%. You both bring your best selves into a
Mhm.
marriage. And so,
Partnership.
yeah. So this was really, it was disappointing in the end. And I mentioned our weekly watch list. It wasn't misty levels of rage for
No.
me because, no one, all of a sudden died.
Right.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Right.
out of
Oh,
left
oh,
we
field.
would have had it. We would have had
Yeah.
a new hashtag.
Right. But I was by the end of this series, all of the joy of like tuning in every week and what's going to happen just kind of dissipated because it didn't live up to the other 14 episodes.
Right.
Yeah.
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 I
I was more interested by the final two episodes, or I would say actually probably 3 to 4 episodes. I was more interested in the secondary stories.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Yeah, those
that
were
was
great.
what I was really keeping me engaged.
because those gave you something to hang on to.
Mhm.
Yes.
It wasn't. I never felt that Lee Sung Yoon's character had no redemption qualities.
Mhm.
Maybe until like episode 14.
Yeah.
And even then, it was like I still felt the character had redemptive moments. I didn't think their marriage was going to survive it, but I thought they could at least have a real conversation.
Well, for
Yeah.
the double stock buying, like the
Yeah.
illegal
Yeah.
or borderline stuff that he did.
But I will say this. There was a part of me that as watching it, like for the character, I was like, I think the first time we actually saw him smile was like episode 15 or 16
Yeah.
when
I
he
think it was
finally
16.
tells wait, hold please. When he finally
bestie.
tells his bestie,
Yeah.
Cha Jin Ho, he's like, the line kept basically I didn't realize how far I was away from the line. And basically the fact that everything had come out and that was off his shoulders, like that was the first time he smiled, and I was like, well, at least he'll be able, like, at least for the first time ever, he was going to be able to live freely.
Right.
And so I kind of was like,
I was
and-
bummed we had to wait so long to get
Okay.
to that. Though.
I mean, again, he was not who we were supposed to be paying attention to, but I just felt
Yeah.
that Ugh.
So if you haven't watched it, let's take a step
That's-
back
yes.
and kind of talk big
Sorry.
picture
Big
because
picture.
we will argue the minutiae
Oh, yeah.
of the show until the sun goes down.
Right?
Because we loved it so much.
So much.
Um,
So we gave you the synopsis.
yeah.
Our main leads were Jang Nara and Lee Sang Yoon, who are our main couple.
Mhm.
And that was Jung Sun. It was, Na Jung Sung and Park Sung Joon.
I know. Did we ever talk about their names and the complementary?
they were meant to be together because their names are the
Right.
opposite.
We never did, but
I think that was just kind of.
I think it was just something that I think it might have just been a writer device because it never really was.
They didn't talk about it. They didn't
I
dwell on
know.
it. But to me, it was like, oh, this is
Yeah,
the perfect
this-
couple.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they
And look,
were
they're-
perceived
even their
as
names
the
are the
perfect
mirror
couple.
opposites.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
And then what was the word I was using? What was not the trumpet?
Oh, strumpet.
The strumpet?
Yeah.
The strumpet was Yuri.
Yes.
And
so
that-
she's the young woman in
Yes.
the office that, it turns out.
Whoa!
Oh, is the illegitimate daughter of.
Yeah.
of
The
our
VP.
CEO,
Yeah.
VIP. And
So-
then
She was played by Pyo Jing.
and then we had our two other main leads, female leads was Lee Chung-ah and Kwak Sung-young. They were amazing.
Chung-ah.
So great.
So great.
So we are women of a certain age, and to
Yes.
see these women, I mean, so Pyo Jin's in her 20s, but
Yeah.
to see these other women, you know, just so real what their characters were going through. That
I mean,
was,
the Me Too storyline that they did
Yes.
with Lee Chung-ya's character, Lee Hyuna, oh God, it was just so good.
And,
that was,
also Kwak Sun Young's
yeah.
character as well.
No,
Yeah.
it's true, absolutely, because she kind of was the catalyst for the
Mhm.
Lee Hyuna character to come out with it. And it was just so amazing to actually see them spend like what 2 or 3
Oh, yeah.
episodes on it. It wasn't
Yeah.
just a quick
a
one-off, like it
main-
happens. It was like a main story. And I have to say, my favorite part about the whole thing was when Cha Jin-ho came out and was like, "I'm really sorry. I wasn't trying to force myself on you." Like he actually learned from that experience.
Yeah.
And it was so, oh my God, it was something you just don't see.
I know, it's a really big deal for a K-drama to take on this major social
Yeah.
issue that women deal with in the workplace, this harassment, the sexual harassment,
Yeah.
because, I mean, the show had plenty of tropes.
Plenty.
So it's nice that they carved out a little space for this issue, because when it's in your living room every week, then it gets talked about.
Of
So,
course.
yeah.
And then, like we were saying, so we got Kwak Sung-young and her husband in this was Lee Jae-won, who I just loved in almost everything he's in.
so
like
great.
he's so great.
The dinosaur outfit.
Oh my God. The fact they all had matching ones, like what is that? And it was amazing.
Amazing.
The fact that he decided to become
Daddy, yeah.
a house husband at the end, like you kind of felt
So
it coming, but you were like, please, please,
I know.
please let that be where we're going.
So progressive. Amazing
Oh,
they did
and I
it.
loved it so
Mhm.
much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I feel like we can't talk about the show without discussing the fact that we had a female director and we had obviously a female writer, because I think a lot of writers, but I just thought that the way the story was told, even though there were a lot of tropes, I felt like they were told in a way that it was really sharp storytelling. It was really well written. It was really well produced and directed. And if you watched their, and I think I mentioned this in a few of our weekly watches, but if you watch their press conference, they also stuck to the new mandate that they're trying to go by, which is a 52-hour week. Work week. So they basically
So they didn't drive their actors and crew
No,
into the ground.
I'm not gonna lie.
Wow.
That is a shorter schedule than we have here in LA.
Mhm.
So that's
I was
amazing.
going to say, I was just doing the math in my head. I'm like, that's not very long
we're on
at
a
all.
guaranteed 60. So minimum that most of us are working here is 60. That's minimum is 60 hours a week. And so going with a 52-hour work week, and they got it all done early. Didn't even go into live shooting. Like this woman is a badass as a producing director.
Because this show is really intricate, and when you watch it, that was the real joy. It was almost approached like it was a noir detective film.
Yes.
Because the clues, right from
every
minute
week.
one, were just so clever. They only showed you what they wanted you to see.
The camera work.
Yes.
Was
So
just, it's like, who's around the corner? Who's he talking to?
And then
I was literally sitting in my chair, like trying to see around the wall when it's
right. And then my favorite part
camera
would be
angle.
like, then they would show it from a different, like a week later, they would show the exact same scene from a different perspective, and you'd be like, what?
what it was her.
Yeah. It was just so
good. And
well
that happened
done.
all the way through to the end.
It was
So
just
that
the
was
storytelling
tight.
was really, really
Can I
good.
talk about that final shot?
Oh yeah, the final shot was
where
beautiful.
it's not final because there was an epilogue, of course.
Yeah.
Where Jung-soon and Sung-joon are kind of having their final. It's raining. They both have their black umbrellas up, and they're kind of having their final, like, well, I wish you the best. I wish you the best. Too.
Yeah.
And then there's an overhead shot of them walking away from each other. All you see are these black dots of the umbrellas, like walking.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I don't recall seeing a shot like that in a K-drama.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It was beautiful. And then there's for me, because I was just like, he's on you. Like she's gone. She's walking away.
Oh, that's right.
His umbrella kind of stopped for a second.
She did walk faster. Yeah.
And he was just kind of like, I was like, oh God.
And you could tell only by the move of this overhead shot of the umbrellas and her.
It was beautiful. I mean, the ending was beautiful. It just was a little unsatisfying.
Yeah.
But I thought the entire cast was unbelievable.
Across the board, all the guests, everyone,
it was tight.
the young
It was
actors,
well done. It was not. They never hit that level of like crazy that
Hysteria.
hysteria that some melodramas get into, where you're just kind of like,
And there were a lot of moments where they, especially when dealing with the VIP
Yeah.
clients, they could have, but they didn't.
Jang Hyuk-jin, who played director Bae, he always goes into that like over like wacky like comedy guy, and he didn't once. He was terrifying. He was so serious.
Smarmy.
He was terrifying. He was so serious.
Yes.
So like there were so many things
I know.
about that.
Palpable
I think
threat.
we've all worked for a guy like that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it was
Or
real.
terrible.
Yeah.
You cannot talk VIP without discussing Anyuri.
Oh.
Uh,
Cho Ye-jin's character?
Oh God.
The young, the
Oh, she was
20-something.
She was just so dumb and young and so 20 that I just wanted to pull her aside and be like, Pumpkin, listen, what are you doing? And then I also wanted to just push her off a ledge.
Because it played so perfectly, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
she
it's
really-
the
she
character
did a
you
really
love
good
to
job,
hate.
but-
she plays this a lot. A
She really
character
does.
that is, you know, in love with someone
Who's
that is just
We're going
it's
to be
like
together
don't.
forever.
Yeah.
I just,
Uh,
I think
she nailed it.
she nailed it. Yes. I think my biggest
You're right.
problem with her and the whole crux of her story was that she's a viper, man. Like, had she not
really-
sent that text,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
our couple could have probably navigated whatever was coming.
That's right. That's right.
But she sent that text
Mm-hmm.
to ruin a marriage.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because it was something she wanted
And
and
she'd
then-
been deprived her
her
whole
whole
life.
life. And I just, knowing full well that she is the daughter of the VP, the CEO, so it's not like she's going to be deprived for the rest of her life. She's not.
Right.
So I just felt like she did not get. Did she get the proper comeuppance by the end?
No.
No. All right.
Well,
No.
I mean, I'll play devil's advocate for a second.
Mhm.
If her true goal was
Mhm.
true love with Sung Joon,
Right.
she did not get that in the end. So
True.
is that a comeuppance?
Right.
And I felt like she did grow because she saw the writing on the wall. She actually initiated the breakup. You know?
We let's debate that because
Okay.
I feel like she only initiated because she knew full well that he was
That he was going.
he was only doing this to like put a cap on their experience.
Right. And she could get on. She's about to get on a first class
Right.
flight to America.
Yeah.
So
And I felt like, I don't know about you guys, but that final scene when he's teaching her to drive and they were having a nice
Oh.
time, like I
Oh,
felt,
that's right.
Why?
I felt like
I felt like he could have said no to that.
I felt like he could have said no, but there was something about it which I found, and I don't know if it was in the performance, I don't know what it was, but there was something about where you could see almost Sung Joon realizing that this is all their relationship should have been.
Yeah.
And you could see it, and I appreciated it, and I think in that moment, not in that moment, because I think he always realized that, but I think because finally all the other pieces had finally been lifted off of him and he could see clearly, he recognized that he could have been a mentor to her
Right.
more
like a
than
brother
yeah,
figure.
and that they had the same life experience, and they could have their lives didn't have to be as imploded as they were in that moment if they would have just this would have
Because learning to drive
Yes.
is something that teenagers do. And it
Mhm.
was the perfect device
really
for that
was.
realization.
It really
But
was.
she's a child,
Yeah.
you know. I'm sorry for all you 25-year-olds.
Yeah.
I remember being 25
Oh
and
my
making
gosh.
very
Maybe that's why it was so
oh my
painful
god,
for me to
right?
watch her, 'cause I'm like,
I
oh,
made some
yeah.
colossally
Did
bad
that?
choices.
Did that?
Yes, yeah, colossally bad.
Stop it.
Yes.
Stop it, young
So
woman.
maybe that is why Yuri was so jarring for me. Like,
Exactly.
oh god,
Got to admit.
Okay.
Gotta
I
fess up.
never did sleep with a married man, though, so I've got to give mine.
I didn't understand
Yes.
that.
Well done,
good
Jen.
choices.
I hope
I
not.
got some solid life choices on me, but still some really stupid choices. But I felt like that scene, even though it was so like, what the fuck are you doing?
No.
But I felt like it was the perfect
Mhm.
like
Yeah. The frame,
moment
yeah.
to give
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
It was sunny out. It was nice. He actually smiled. You could see in that smile almost him realizing this is what, and I think
That's what
that's
it
when
should have
she
been.
knew that
Yes.
he was getting ready to
You can see
there was he was not coming to America with her. Like that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And so that's
yeah.
So I found it very satisfying there at the end, because even though she's breaking up with him, because 25-year-olds have a bit of bravado, and we're
Mhm.
not going to let you break up with me. No. I
But
did. I
because she
just
did- but because she did have that realization.
right,
so,
and so
yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember wondering at a certain point whether, because of course they had the poor little rich girl segment, and I'm like, well, everything's a choice,
Right.
So I thought, will she make a choice at some point to, to try to go for it, her one true love, and leave behind.
Right.
And then, she didn't in the end.
Which
She stayed with the family.
I think was the smartest decision she'd ever made because I, as someone who was not married to someone she met in her 20s, I feel like meeting your one true love by the age of 25 is rare. Very, very rare. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying that the average
Yeah. Oh,
is
yeah.
it's probably best if it's already a cluster here. You should probably just start over somewhere else.
And I didn't marry a man who was almost
right.
40. Ugh,
So
no.
I just am saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she did an amazing job, Pyo Jin.
Yeah.
But
the character
Yuri,
we love to hate.
she was
It was
Yeah.
like Marisa said, nailed it.
Yeah.
she did nailed it.
And but the one really, I mean, there are a lot of cameos in this,
Yeah.
but the super enjoyable one was Arin
Oh,
as
she's our little
little princess.
She was our little
from-
Princess Ari from Last Empress.
Yes.
Right, with Jang Nara. So that was really
Buy me ice
enjoyable.
cream. Buy me ice cream.
to see them
Counting her out of
together.
ice cream.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
See, now in her birthday party,
Mhm.
at the end of her
Oh,
party,
yeah.
where she was so upset because the boy she liked
Uh-huh.
was not paying attention to her, and she was consoled with a puppy.
The
I was
puppy.
like, oh,
Yeah.
that's a
Right?
clue.
Oh, I thought there were so many clues. None. There were no
But
clues.
I was like,
Do
is
not-
Jang Nara going to end up with our puppy Shinjaya?
Ooh.
Oh,
I would have supported
There's a
it maybe if
moment.
we did a
There was a
4-year
moment.
if we did a 4-year time.
There
jump.
was a moment. Yeah. Although I did like to see his character later on, where suddenly now
did.
he's confident,
Yeah.
he's the one, and you just see the women in the office going, "That's
Yes.
exactly what we used to say to him."
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
I did. Here's the question, guys. Would you recommend this as a binge? And that's always our final question when we do these.
And I
When we
always
do these.
ask
Yeah.
define binge, like one after another, staying up all night, or one a day until you're done. Or I always qualify the binge. I don't know
I
why.
think a binge is more than one a day.
Sure.
Let's do that.
Wow, I don't know. I would think for me at the beginning, yes. When it's like, well, who's around the corner? It's like I couldn't wait to press play again, and I would have the the 5 days in between weeks. I'd be like, come on, come on. But there were toward the end of the show, I kind of wanted to sit with the episodes a little bit more after they were done. I wasn't like ready to hit press play on the next one. What did you both think?
I think the show was so visceral, the impact, that I could totally see rewatching and being up till 2 a.m, like hitting play again. I think this is one of those strategic things where you have to stop in the middle of an episode if you want to go to bed.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Binge strategy.
I think, honestly, I think if I binged this and got to that ending, I would have flipped a table. So I think if you know in advance what the ending is and are prepared for it, like kind of like with Misty, where like a lot of people, once they know what the ending is, they can watch it and binge it.
I
and
never
not,
would have watched that show.
I don't think I would have either. But I think there were so many other good things around this that if you know what the ending is and are not expecting there to be a great reveal that Sung Joon had something else happening because he didn't, or that they're going to actually figure out a way to either talk or work it out because they're not. If you know that going in, I would say it's a really good binge because the other two couples, it's so satisfying and so good to watch.
But it's also, as we were talking about with the director, it's so cleverly done that is so enjoyable.
Yes.
And so that watching that for all of those episodes is such a good reason to binge it.
There was a lot. So there was a lot to recommend in this show.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
There was some, episode 8 was just this amazing
The reveal. Oh my God.
So that was such a primo episode.
Yeah.
You will enjoy it if you like a big, soap opera. It was so many good
things.
Was that the one where she's like, let's all go to hell together? Was that
No, that was a big
It's
reveal.
the fashion
It was
show.
the fashion show and then the big reveal.
Oh, the fashion
when there was like
show!
all the phone calls and
bottle of
him
wine.
and
Yeah.
then him walking up to the door and the
Yeah.
slow-mo door
Yeah.
opening.
I know. So if you haven't seen it, enjoy that episode.
Yes.
It's so good.
All right, you guys. Any final thoughts? We good?
I enjoyed
covered
it.
a lot
I
of
think
it,
we
yeah.
covered it.
I didn't know what to. I expected something a lot more superficial.
Yeah, so did I.
honestly, from the synopsis
Absolutely.
and the title,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
wow,
Yeah.
how what a great
So,
surprise.
I think that's the best way to wrap that up for
Mhm.
sure. All right, we're the K3. I'm Jen.
I'm Karen.
I'm Marisa.
And if you want to hear what we thought week to week and our crazy antics on that, you can check them out right here in our weekly watch list. Until next time, bye.